The title, simply, When You Feel Behind, I want us to remember this. Finish what we start. Finish what we start. I guess that's a subtitle, so to speak, for today's conversation. Now, to help me kind of like guide us through this conversation, if you will, please, family, comment below. Finish strong. Finish strong. Finish strong. Let that be your mindset. It's the month of November. 2 months left in 2025. Where are we at with our goals? I know there was many things that you said you were going to do. Many experiences you committed to and said you were going to have. Many outcomes that you dedicated yourself to and you said, we're going to build this. This is going to be the year. This is going to be the year where we're going to build momentum towards this goal. We're going to accomplish this particular dream. We're going to take steps towards this vision. Where are we at with those things right now, right? Like, let's do a reality check and keep it real with ourselves. I had a conversation with a group of leaders last week, and many of them were expressing their disappointment and their frustration because of the lack of progress that they believe they're experiencing. They feel as if they're not where they should be. They felt as if they're not necessarily building any progress towards the goals that they set in the month of January for the year of 2025. And it's disappointing. And maybe somebody watching this broadcast or catching this on the replay, you can relate to that, right? There's things you told yourself you were going to do, but life got in the way. There were things you said you were going to accomplish, but the struggle got real. And as adversity began to arise, that determination, that drive, that desire began to diminish. And now you find yourself in the month of November looking at the lack of progress and you're feeling some type of way. But during this conversation, I want to share a story from last year's Olympics that I believe is a perfect example that captures the essence of anybody that's aiming to accomplish something worthwhile, how you can finish strong. Okay. Again, I want those comments to flow in this conversation. Finish strong. That's going to be our mindset. So real quick, picture this. The stadium, the lights are blazing. And everybody in this stadium is locked in on the track. And this is Paris 2024. This is during the 400-meter men's race. And this is the finals, right? Quincy Hall was his brother's name. Many of you are familiar with this story, but nonetheless, he's in the fifth lane. He seemed calm, seemed collected, but as the race started, he didn't blast off the blocks, and he found himself really kind of falling away from the pack. In the middle of the race, he was around like fourth or fifth place, and it seemed as if he was going to lose. But family, one thing about champions is that they recognize it's not always about how you start, but it's more about how you finish. Everybody comment below us about how I finish. As they entered into the final stretch of the race, 100 meters left. Again, it looked as if Quincy Hall was losing traction and losing momentum, but that's when he locked in. That's when he got focused. That's when he kicked it into a higher gear. And I remember the commentator saying he's digging deep. Everybody comment below, dig deep, meaning he's digging within and pulling something out that in many cases he didn't even realize he had. Now, mind you, when he entered into the 100-meter, distance that was left within this race, he was in like fourth or fifth place. But at the end of the race, he ended up winning and getting the gold medal. And as I looked at this situation and really evaluated, that overall experience and reflected on Quincy's Hall gold medal win, I began to realize it really wasn't about speed, y'all. It was more about focus, determination, resilience, and a person that didn't give up on themselves. Yeah, I want that to sink in, y'all. A man, a leader, an athlete, a person that's aiming to accomplish something worthwhile, that it seemed as if he was falling short, but he didn't give up on himself. It seemed as if everybody had counted him out, but he didn't give up on himself. And maybe you find yourself in that same scenario again. You're falling behind. It seems as if you've lost momentum, and we're entering into the final stretch. Let me remind you, in case you have forgotten, or maybe you didn't even realize, family, a lot can happen between now and December 31st. Let me say that again for the people in the back in case you missed it. No matter what it looks like, no matter what it seems to be, no matter how you feel, a lot can happen between now and December 31st. But what must happen in order for something extraordinary to take place, you got to lock in. You got to lock in. That's a prerequisite to extraordinary results and extraordinary outcomes. You have to lock in on what matters the most. You got to stay focused. Your focus is critical in this moment because distractions can often stunt our growth and our progress. And maybe historically throughout this year, this has been your challenge. You've been distracted by things that do not necessarily align with what you're aiming to experience and what you're aiming to accomplish in your life. Today's got to be the day that you make the executive decision. I'm locking in on what matters the most. That's number one. Number two is this. We got to make the most of every single opportunity. And here's why. Those small wins add up. Those small steps, they compound over time. You waking up a little bit earlier. You going the extra mile. You challenging yourself each and every single day. You raising your hand for new opportunities. You stepping further and further outside of your comfort zone, making the most of every single opportunity. Because again, those moments accumulate. Those moments add up and they compound over time. It's the small steps in the right direction that can end up being the biggest steps of your life. So let's not neglect or overlook the small steps that you can start taking right now in this moment. Most people dream big, right? But ultimately, they never take those small steps and realize that those small steps is what leads to the big moments, the big opportunities, the big transformations. So let's make every single moment count. Lastly, number three, family. Very important. You got to hold yourself accountable. Everybody comment below. Accountability is key. Kevin, I see you in the building, brother. Salute. Accountability is key. You got to hold yourself accountable to be at your best. Dedication is what paves the way to achievement. Meaning, you got to break the habit of starting things and then stopping things simply because it's uncomfortable. You got to break the habit of coming up with excuses to justify why you're not executing and taking action. A leader of mine once said, excuses sound best to those that make them. Like we fall in love with our excuses. Let today be the day that you fall in love with your vision instead of falling in love with your excuses. Your accountability is key, meaning this. If there's something that you want, you told yourself you were going to do something at the top of 2025, there's still time on the clock. But you got to hold yourself accountable to do not what's just convenient, but most importantly, what's necessary to get to where you're aiming to be, to build the life that you envision, to experience the success that you want to manifest. You got to hold yourself accountable. Family, what I'm really getting at is this. You can transform your life through discipline, through focus, and most importantly, you not giving up on yourself. Somebody in this broadcast, you're looking at your situation and your circumstance and you feel defeated. Somebody in this broadcast, you've made some mistakes and you've fallen short and you're feeling discouraged. Somebody in this broadcast, things haven't manifested or unfolded in the way that you envisioned and it's disappointing. But you don't want to lead your life being disappointed, defeated, or discouraged. You want to lead your life feeling determined. And when you stay focused, when you remain resilient, and you don't give up on yourself, you can leverage that determination and you can build some success. There's an old quote that says, if you want to go to sleep with satisfaction, you got to wake up with determination. What D1 is saying in this conversation is this, like Quincy Hall, yeah, you may have started slow. You may have fallen behind. Others may be leading the way, but the year is not over. In fact, it ain't over until we win. We're in the final stretch. I need you to dig deep. There it goes again. I need us to dig deep I need you to pull out that drive, that desire to create a positive change in your life. And I need you to stay consistent. I need you to lock in and remain disciplined to accomplish this vision that you set out to accomplish at the top of this year. It's been rough, but as it gets rougher, you got to get tougher and lock in on what you want. Yeah, I understand you're feeling some pain. You may feel discouraged from time to time, but you got to leverage that determination to get to the finish line. So at the end of the year, you can raise your hand in victory and say, I did it. I did it. If you don't get anything else out of what we've talked about during this broadcast, remember, champions, winners, people that rise above circumstances, they understand it's not always about how you start. What's most important is how you finish. You have an opportunity that stands in front of you to finish this year strong. Accept that challenge. Let's move forward. If you slid into this broadcast and I was unable to give you a shout out, be sure to comment below. And if in fact this is your first time, or maybe it's your first time in a long time, I welcome you and I want to shout you out as well. Put a number 1 in the chat and then place your first name afterward. Again, place a number 1 in the chat and then put your first name afterward. I'll be sure to shout you out before we do wrap up today's broadcast. I'm hoping that somebody somewhere found some value in this discussion. If you were picking up what your boy D1 was putting down, put some fist up in the chat below. Let me know that you received some value from today's conversation. Yes, Key Rick, I see you. It ain't over until I win, Kevin, for sure. That's that winner's mentality, y'all. Again, a lot can happen between now and December 31st. But we got to double down on our efforts, and we got to rise to the occasion. This is your moment. The spotlight's on you. Maybe historically you've been falling behind. Maybe historically you haven't been winning. Maybe historically it seems as if you're taking a lot of L's, but you know what? Those L's are not losses, they're lessons. And they've been positioning you for the success that you've been envisioning. So right now is the time to lock in. I see those fists coming up, family. If you did find some value, I would truly appreciate you sharing this out. Share it out on Facebook. Tag somebody on Facebook as well. Share it out on YouTube. Send the link out to at least 3 people that you personally know. Also, family, if we've yet to connect on other platforms, what are we waiting for? Connect with your boy. I'm at D, the #1 Gibson, pretty much on all platforms, including Instagram, Facebook. I've referenced my YouTube channel. For more information on that and to subscribe, it's youtube.com/David Gibson. I'm also on LinkedIn. Be sure to connect with me there. I also, from time to time, get individuals asking how they can contribute monetarily to our mission, make a financial contribution. Connect with me on Cash App. That's $D1 Gibson. Would truly appreciate your support. Also, visit the website, elevationisAmust.com, for more information on my speaking and coaching services. And while you're there, take advantage of all the resources that are available for the free $99, and some you can invest some dollars towards that will help you master your mindset, build and develop successful practices, and ultimately become the best and greatest version of yourself. With all of that being said, family, let's wrap this thing up. You got dreams to catch and success to create, so we each got to get busy being great. Your boy D1 got some bars this morning, Kevin. Trying to keep up with you, brother. Absolutely me, and lessons over losses. But family, before we wrap this thing up, if you find yourself in a difficult situation and challenging experience, just remember that this too shall pass. Let me say that again. This too shall pass. You're not only just going through it, but you're growing through it. So keep persisting until you succeed. I understand it's rough. I understand it's challenging. But everything that you are experiencing is contributing to who you are becoming. And who you become is ultimately what's going to lead to the impact that you make in the world around you. So keep that top of mind. And family, if nobody else tells you that they love you today, remember, your brother from another mother, D1 Gibson, has nothing but love for each and every single one of you. Let's spread that, family. It's like desperate times that people are in right now. You never know how something as small as a simple smile can impact somebody's entire day. They can be going through the toughest and roughest patch and season in their life, and you, with a simple gesture of a smile, can uplift their spirits and help them take another step, fight another fight, and keep going. So let's be ambassadors of love, advocates of positivity. There's a lot of negativity going on right now. The social media realm, within the communities that we live in right now, people are, facing many different hardships and on edge right now. Let's continue to be the light. Shine your light. Help others shine theirs. Let's make a difference, a positive difference in the world around us. That's what it's all about, y'all. Of course, we have our own personal ambitions, things that we're aiming to accomplish within our career, our business, building a brand. You're just aiming to be a better you. But at the end of the day, if the world is falling apart while us are just winning and succeeding, then ultimately that's not success. We got to uplift others. We got to make the change and be the change. Not only be the change, but build the change that we wish to see, that we aim to see. It all starts with us, family. With that being said, let's wrap this thing up. Again, you got dreams to catch and success to create. Family, I thank you for your time. Tapping in with your boy D1 on this amazing Monday. Have an extraordinary day. In fact, be effective, be successful, live with some passion today, and most importantly, be powerful in every ounce of that word. Move with power. Lead with power. Make power moves towards your goals. We'll be back at it next Monday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But in the meantime, have a powerful day and an extraordinary week. Peace.